What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday. So, you know what that means. If you see my face on a Tuesday, you know that it's time for another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. Listen, as always, don't get tired of hearing me say this. As always, we have a great guest, and I am looking forward to speaking to her today. I tell you this every episode, and I have not been wrong on any episode. Get out your pen and paper if you are a pen and paper person. Get out your electronic note taking device if you are an electronic note taking device person, because as usual, during any episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur, you're going to get some things, some takeaways, some things that you can use on your journey, because this is a journey and we want you to enjoy the journey. So, without further ado, let's get into this episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. Let's go. Hey, what's happening, everybody? We are back. We are back for another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. I am your host, Oliver Marcel, author, speaker, coach in the relationship building and men's enrichment spaces, with my purpose, passion, and path being to do what's on my t-shirt. Let me show it to you. If you could not read what that says, my t-shirt says 2020 before hindsight. There are so many things that I learned the hard way, things that I learned through trial and error, through mistakes, through falling into pitfalls, and the list goes on and on and on. It is my passion and my purpose and my path to let somebody, at least one person, gain some level of clarity on the front end before they do something, say something, become something, hang out with somebody, make a decision that could throw off the trajectory of their lives. That's me, author of the book, Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best Despite What He Was Taught. And listen, if you got any love for your boy, grab a t-shirt. It's in the description of wherever you might be watching this. Grab a book as well. You will not be disappointed. We got S. Kane in the house. They're coming in one by one. Thank you for being here. Hey, listen, man, life is what life is, my brother. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. This is sponsored by, it is a Love Entrepreneurs collaboration. If you're not familiar with Love Entrepreneurs and you've never heard that term, Love Entrepreneurs is a group of people, business owners, entrepreneurs, with the sole goal of helping ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. There is several ways that they do this. It is a fellowship that is geared to putting you in a position to help you win. They do something called the Big Fix, which is their signature dish. We're going to talk about that a little bit later when we talk to our guest. So listen, you know how I do this. Before we bring our guest on, I always have a few words that I want to share with you, and today is no different. And it is simply this. We, as the background noise, my guest says she couldn't hear background noise. There's so much stuff going on outside of my house right now. All right, let's focus. So here's what I have to say to you today. It is simply this. Define what success means to you. Now, entrepreneurs can attest to this, and maybe just people in general can attest to this. We are often inundated with what society, what business gurus, what coaches say success should be. Is that really what success is for you? I'm not going to get philosophical. I'm not going to get deep. I'm just going to ask you to take some time as we come down to the end of this year to really be solid in your specific definition of success. Don't get caught up in chasing something that doesn't align to what your definition of success is. Often we run around chasing a whole lot of things because we haven't first determined what success is to us. And so we get burned out and we get frustrated and we make decisions that maybe we should not have made because we haven't first clearly defined what success looks like as it relates to our specific entrepreneurial journey. So I'm encouraging you as this year closes out and you go into the next, do not go into the next year without clearly defining what success is to you, because it will help you to carve out the path, and it will help you to focus on the purpose, and it will help you to now funnel your energies into the right places. S. John is in here saying that God was just speaking to me about this. I love it. I love it. I love when confirmation comes. I love that. That is awesome. And listen, speaking to me as well, because I'm preaching to myself right now because I have, if I'm being honest, I've gotten caught up in what success is to other people. And I have started chasing all these different rabbits. And then now I'm wondering, why am I out of breath? Why haven't I caught any of the rabbits? Why does it look like my business is not doing what it should be doing? And I had to take a moment. And we talked about this in last week's episode, that December is my time to really kind of focus and regroup and get some things together. And I really had to figure out, what is success to me? Not to everybody else, not to the other coaches that work with married couples and small business teams and men, but to me. So that's my challenge for you today. Take some time, steal away, uh, really get your thoughts together and come up with what success looks like to you. It does not have to look like anybody else's. Yeah, there's some different things that we all aspire to. Yes, we want to increase revenue. Yes, we want to get clients. Yes, we want to garner business. I get that. But outside of some of those things, what is success really for you on your entrepreneurial journey? So that's what I want to leave you with. Blessings on you as you go through that. I pray and hope for clarity for you 2020, before you do something that burns you out and forces you to go back to the drawing board. I've been there. And I don't want that for you. All right. So listen, without further ado, we got a phenomenal guest. Janette Wong is in the building. I am so disappointed that I don't have my applause to help me out. So when she comes on, I'm just going to applaud using my hands. I might have some, let me see if the signals, I don't even know if the signal thing is working for it's just all over the place. So we're going to get Janette on in just a moment. We got some folk in the comment. S. John, thank you for your consistency and allowing God to continue to use you no matter what. Your 2024 is going to be much more amazing than it was this year. Listen, I receive every syllable of that comment. Much appreciated, man. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. We got my man, Crazy David, is in the house. Success for me is being happy and content with my life and continue on my journey of achieving my personal health and happiness. And that is a phenomenal blueprint for success. I love that. I love it. I love it. Listen, Janette, I can see her. She's excited. She's smiling. She's ready to come share. So without further ado, we have in the building Janette Wong. Thank you, Janette, for being here. Woo!
Hi, Oliver. Thank you so much. And hi, everyone in the audience. Thank you so much for having me today. I know
Indeed.
you could see me, but I was like, everything that you were saying. I was like, yep, yep, yep. And I was taking notes,
Oh man,
trying to
appreciate
think.
that.
I forgot that I was coming on. I was just like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. This workshop, I'm loving this.
Hey, I love it. I love it. That's good stuff. Listen, Janette, I'm going to let Janette introduce herself. Janette is a life coach, philanthropist, and podcaster. Janette is doing some great things, and we're going to hear from her. Crazy David. Uh, oh, this is Reem. What's up, Reem? Reem is in the comments. Listen, if you missed the last episode, You need to go see that. Reem was my guest for the last episode. Phenomenal episode. She says, "Crazy David, love it, David." And we got S. John in the comments with applause as well. So here we go. Janette, let's start out here. Tell us, because all I said was all I gave you was 3 titles: life coach, philanthropist, and podcaster. Tell us, who is Janette and where's your passion lie?
So I am originally from Hong Kong. That's where I was born. And then I migrated to the UK when I was 9 years old, along with my mom and my 2 brothers. My dad stayed in Hong Kong because of work back then, and also to look after grandparents. And so I have many identities. I could say that I'm an immigrant. I could say that, I am Chinese, but I am also British. I have been in depression. I have had racial discrimination. There's so many different identities that I can bring onto myself. I guess what I really, part of my journey, because you're talking about journey, is that growing up in the UK, as a Chinese person, that was really difficult for me. And as at the age of 9, moving into a tiny countryside village where they've never seen a Chinese person before, that was actually really challenging for me, but also for them. They never seen a Chinese person before, so they didn't understand what I was all about. And the quickest way and the best way that I found as a 9-year-old was to actually adopt a new identity, which was actually to say, okay, I'm going to disregard the Chinese part. Yes, I understand Chinese, but I'm going to disregard that. And I'm now going to be British and I only speak English. But what that meant was that actually that decision carried me well. Apart from that, I didn't realize that I didn't have any self-worth anymore, because I wasn't worthy of being who I really was. And it wasn't until about 30 years, when I got to 30 years old, when a friend of mine that I'd known for years, she got really angry with me. And she said, look, Janette, why can't you just accept that you are a hybrid? You're never going to be Chinese, and you're never going to be British. So just get over it and just accept that you're a hybrid. I'm like, oh, I like that word. So I am a hybrid, and I am Chinese and British at the same time. And I love that new identity. And then fast forward a few years later, I fell into depression. And I was like, I had a manipulative manager who really confirmed my beliefs since that I've had all through my life, which was I was not worthy. And he told me that for an hour.
Wow.
After giving me a promotion. So that was a bit of a shock to me. And it didn't match up. But all I could hear, and I remember from that hour's conversation, well, actually monologue from his side, was, Janette, don't try to actually negotiate your salary. Yes, you got a promotion, but I've already told HR that you're not worthy of a salary. Don't even try. That was how I started my second life, I would say. Because through that depression, that triggered me into depression. And through that journey, I discovered a thing called community. And I discovered a thing called I am worthy, I am enough. And there's a thing called self-love, which you can see on here. And that's basically where my second life, I would like to call it, really began, when I realized that there was someone who's willing to see me as my hybrid self, my Janette self, my 2-name self, whatever, because I've got a Chinese name and an English name, in whatever capacity. There's just me, and it's worth accepting. And I also discovered personal development. I also discovered the frustrations that came with personal development, because then you kind of go with, there's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it goes really along what you were talking about, is living someone else's life. And it wasn't until I realized and got frustrated so much that I was going in the loop of, yay, celebration, and then, oh no, next thing. Yay, celebration, oh, the next thing. I was like, this is so tiring.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started, okay, I need to stop this loop. I need to just come up with a structure that actually works for people, for myself to start with,
Mm-hmm.
that I can live this sustainable life, growth centric, sustainable life that allows me to live my purpose and feel fulfilled every single day. And when I found that, I started my coaching business, which was like, hey, everyone, I know how to do this now. Let me share it with you all.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm a life coach. And that's basically where it all started about 2 years ago.
Wow. I love that. And here's what I love about that. And those of you who follow the show, you probably know what I'm about to say. But I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, if not every guest since we started this, almost every guest, their purpose is typically birthed out of some level of self discovery or some level of pain or some level of, hey, I went through a healing journey that now allowed me to see with some level of clarity how I'm supposed to serve the world. And you are no different. You are no different. And I love that. I love that. And some of the best coaches are the folk who can say, hey, I fell in the pit too. So I understand. I've had the same cuts and bruises, proverbially, that you do. And so I understand how to do that. And those are some of the best coaches. So I love that that is uh where you are. Lisa Brown is in the comments. Shout out to Lisa Brown. That hit rock bottom place, I think is maybe, but that hit work bottom. Crazy David, Janette is a great speaker and makes so much sense. I can relate to her situation and listen to her all day. See, so Janette, that means I'm gonna have to keep you here longer than I would normally keep my other guests, right? Because folk want to hear you speak. So that's awesome. So since folk want to hear you speak, let me throw it back to you in this way. Once you now discovered, okay, here's what I've learned. I just want to share this with the world. This is kind of an unorthodox question that I don't normally ask folk. And don't get afraid. I'm not gonna put you out there.
That's fine.
What 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 were some of the things that you were seeing when you started to work with other individuals that was really keeping them, like, was just hindering their progress in terms of them getting the same level of healing that you got?
I think the main thing is belief system.
Talk about that.
What they believe in. So we can never go above what we believe in. Fact. If you believe you're only worth this much money, if you believe that you're only worthy when you have done something,
Hmm.
when you have achieved something, when you've become someone, you cannot go beyond that. You change your belief system, you change your life. And what's the most obvious to me, which I think people don't hear because they don't realize it, is that the language that they use, the thinking patterns, you will, by listening, because I'm trained to do this, is actually just one conversation. It's enough for you to tell me exactly what you're focused on, what you believe in, and how you describe yourself. Those are the three things. But it all comes down to your belief system. What do you believe you can achieve? What do you believe about the world? Is the world a friendly place or not? If you believe that the world is a friendly place, there's opportunities in front of you. If you believe that the world is an evil, nasty place, then there's danger, there's risks, like something's going to happen to you if you go and do X, Y, Z. And I was listening to a podcast today, and it was really interesting because he said historically, and the podcaster was Rich Litvin,
Mm,
and he says actually that historically, those who spoke out were the ones who were attacked, who were killed, possibly. Those who did something different were the ones who were misunderstood, who stood out and people like bullied them and everything. And so we have this generational belief that actually we're going to get hit, we're going to get attacked, something's going to happen to us if we are different. So if you believe in something that's different to what everyone else believes, then you could be at risk. So I think a lot of that comes through our what we've learned in the past. That's decisions that we've made. Like I mentioned, I made a decision that if I'm too different, if I'm too Chinese, I'm going to be different. I'm going to get bullied.
mhm.
I can't fit in. So I had to make that choice. So that belief system I made when I was 9.
Okay.
We make a lot of beliefs up when we were even younger than that. And what happens is that we carry them on without knowing. They become our subconscious. And so until someone is able to point them out to you, you probably don't know you've got those belief system and you can't change them.
That's interesting, and I would agree with you there. The mindset, your approach, your perspective, your view, your ideology around the world, around yourself, around your relationship to the world around you, uh, is so vital and
Mm,
very can be very telling, can be very damaging, can be very detrimental, can be very helpful, depending on what it is, right? And you talked about the language that's used. There's a proverb that says that life and death are in the power of the tongue,
mm,
and so the language that you use around yourself and around your capacity and your capabilities is going to be what you live out,
absolutely.
to some degree. Now, without giving away too much proprietary information, because obviously we want people to come and work with you, what is the first step for someone who has to do some very significant work on their language and on their belief system?
The main thing is observation.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people are just like guns blazing, right? I'm ready to change. Like, give me the big bang. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. If you don't know where you are now, you can't, it doesn't matter how clear you are of your outcome, you can't get there because there is no mapping. You can't say to Google Maps or City Mapper or whatever app you use, Waze, and say, right, I want to get there. Okay, where are you starting from? Somewhere.
Mm, that's a good
I
analogy.
tried somewhere. I actually tried it out. It this doesn't exist. I think there's a pub somewhere in the UK called Somewhere Pub,
Okay.
but not somewhere. It's still a pub.
Mm,
And vice versa. If you have the somewhere, well, where you are now, and you don't have clarity, going back to your original point, what does success look like to you? We cannot bridge the gap.
mm,
And so observation is key. The self-discovery journey is the thing that I take everyone through, whether it's knowing your language, what's going through in your head, how your mind actually works.
mhm,
Um, and then, because what we do is when we understand all of this, then we can start rewiring the brain. We can start changing up the neural pathways inside our minds in order to build new paths in the snow, new paths in wherever you want to go. But it's a conscious effort.
yeah,
But if you don't know where you are, we can't get you there. And
that's
it's
good.
not about how much effort you put into it. If
Mhm,
anything, I'd rather you just sit with a pen and your notebook and you just carry it around with me and every time you start thinking a negative thought, oh, what did I just think, or what did I just say? Every time you get triggered, oh, what did I just think, what did I just say, how did I just describe that? Because those are the keys to discovering who you currently are now. And that's what I do as my life purpose, is to help people find out who they are now,
Hmm.
who they want to, where they want to get to, and then we can close the gap.
That's good. And that requires some level of honesty as well, because once I begin to find out who I am and where I am, I also have to now accept that that's what is really happening at that time. Because often people don't, uh, they are shown to some degree who they are and where they are, but they aren't willing to accept it. And so
Mm.
that acceptance also now hinders them from making any moves further, because they're like, oh well, yeah, they make excuses for it. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but, or they blame someone else, or whatever the case may be. So I love that you put that there. We got Crazy David in the comments. Many people laugh at me because I am different. I laugh at them because they are all the same. We got Cameron in the comments. Shout out to Cameron who's in the comments. It's like ocean navigation. You can draw a line on a map from New York to Southampton, but once you put out to sea, the winds and the currents will move you off your line of travel. The only way to arrive where you want to be is to keep reestablishing where you are now and recharting your course accordingly. I love that. Cameron is always in the comments dropping gems. Appreciate you, Cameron, for that as well. So okay, so now we are in a space now, Janette, where you are helping people. You are using the journey, the lessons from the path that you've been on and the healing that you've experienced, and you are now helping other folk to do that. Give me a timeline. So how long from your moment of discovery, if you will, to your first client?
My moment of discovery. Oh, I would say my moment of discovery was 2019. That
Okay.
was when I first did my very first thing on my own.
Hmm.
That was like my big step out there.
Okay.
February 2019. I remember it very clearly because it was my first London fashion show that I went to. That was like a treat for myself.
Hmm.
Until my first client, actually, that was last year,
Okay.
2022. That
Hmm.
was when my first client came. And I would say at the beginning, even, I didn't, it comes back to the belief system. When I first started my coaching journey, my business, I
Hmm.
didn't believe that I could be a coach.
Mm.
I went in it and going, okay, but I had no choice. I always felt like I had no choice. Of course,
Hmm.
I had a choice, but I was like, everything, every fiber in me was like, if I don't do this, something's gonna happen, or like, life is gonna end. I don't know what it was. I was like, I have to do this,
Hmm.
to the point where I was in corporate at the time. My corporate colleagues were helping me come up with the name for my business.
Wow.
And it's like, talk about community. And it's like that drive, that everything that the universe poured into me to get me started. I also had someone who willingly sat with me and said, can I please get some advice from you? And 3 hours later, we were still sat in the cafe, and all I offered
Mm.
her was a cake and a coffee. But still, those 3 hours later enabled me to start my business 5 days later.
Wow.
And then within like a couple of months, I had my first coaching client.
Nice.
And so that for me, that's yes, timeline,
Hmm.
but experiences,
Hmm.
journey, how much investment of time and money I had, poured into this,
Hmm.
because there was no other option. It was that clear.
Wow. And I believe for many of us, if not all of us as entrepreneurs, hopefully that is the same level of experience that we had that took us to where we are. And you used some words that are very similar to some words that I used, because I was doing, while I was in the corporate space, was doing some coaching and was doing some speaking while in the corporate space, and still kind of developing this thing on the side, if you will. But when I jumped out of the corporate space in 2021, some of the very same words you used were the words that I used. I felt like if I did not do it, it was literally like, if you don't do this now, the window closes.
Mm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I don't want the window to close. Now, when I jump out this window, I also don't have a parachute. But that's a whole nother that's a whole nother
That's the
story.
next. Yeah,
Right.
that's the next episode.
That's a whole nother story. But I don't want the window to close. So let's go ahead and dive out. We'll figure this out on the way down. But yeah, I think that for many entrepreneurs, when they discover what their purpose is, I say in my book that everyone has a purpose, passion, and path, and that it is discoverable with a little persistence. And once you discover what that is, you have that feeling that you had. That feeling that is almost like, I don't have a choice now. I
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is what I've been called to do, and let's go do it. And so I love that you have that. So talk about now, what are you involved in as a philanthropist, as a podcaster, as a coach? There's some great things that you're doing in the space. Listen, just share what you're doing in the space.
Yes, absolutely. So, alongside my life coaching, I'm also a founder or the founder of the Janette Wong community. And it's actually a not-for-profit, and we call it a CIC, a community interest company in the UK. And what we do is actually we offer an opportunity for women to give, to receive, and to inspire. And the whole purpose of this community is to actually offer professional women around the world who want to give back to actually do good, do pro bono work in their time, but short-term projects, one-offs, webinars, workshops, and offer their services and whatever they can to small to medium-sized charities and not-for-profits around the world that support vulnerable women and children. And like you mentioned, it came through an experience. It came through, it started that because I experienced the sense of community. I experienced like unconditional support. That's what I wanted to create for myself. But I also recognize that it's so difficult to give back these days because of the time commitments, the availability of our time that we've got. It might not even be money that we can give. But what else can we give? My skills, my time. And so that's why I started the CIC in the first place, to offer people this opportunity, if they would like to actually support these charities. Because we think that actually, charities run themselves and it's great and they're always asking for money. Well, no, actually, what about the employees of the charities? They don't get supported.
Mm.
They don't get the training that if you're in a big corporate you get. They don't get the headcount, the resources. So a lot of the times it's not just about the money. It's just some advice. It's some coaching. It's some support in like, can you please help me procure a CRM system? Can you please help me come up with some fundraising ideas? Can you please help me, do a one-off social media campaign? It's little things like that, which we already do in our everyday life. We know this. It's like the back of our hand.
Mm-hmm.
But offering that opportunity for these small to medium-sized charities to run successfully and in turn help even more people who really need it. Because everyone deserves to get supported and deserves to thrive. And because of my personal journey of how I've been supported and I've been seen, that's what I really want to offer out to everyone in the world.
That's incredible. I love that. That's incredible because it, part of our experience, right? And if you talk to different entrepreneurs, they'll give you different experiences, right? There's some entrepreneurs that they get into communities, and we're going to talk about community. It's a great segue what you're talking about, because we're going to talk about community in just a second. It we get in some communities, and those communities are very welcoming. They are very supportive. They want to see you win. They want to see you thrive. There are other communities that we can all probably speak to as well, where it is very non-collaborative, if you will. It's very competition oriented. It is very I got to get mine, and I got to get what I need to get from you as well. And for you to now recognize that everybody needs some level of support, and not only does everybody need some level of support, but we're going to create an environment where individuals who need support can be paired with individuals who just want to be of service. That's what this is all about.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, and this is now correct me if I'm wrong. This is particularly for in terms of the service. This is for professional women who want to provide these services. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
At the moment, we're asking professional women who want to give back to support vulnerable women and children and the charities that support them. Um, I know I've been told, like, I've been asked, why isn't this, what about the men? What if I want us help?
I wasn't gonna say anything, Janette, but you know, let's
You're like, yes, I know, recognizing that I'm talking to an amazing guy like yourself and saying, it's for women. Yes, this is a decision that I made at the
Mhm.
beginning of the journey because it's something that I really feel very, very passionate about,
Mhm.
helping women and children.
Yeah.
It's people that I resonate with the most. That's not to say I'm closing doors to guys, by the
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
I am keeping this door very, very open. And actually, what I would love to do is to make this, and I think that's why I actually changed it as well to giving, receiving, and inspiring. I'm hoping that there's going to be like a support from men as well and for charities, and just to be able to expand that later on
Mhm.
as we grow.
Yeah.
At the moment, we are keeping it to women and children, but then of course, if there is something that actually I know someone, if I know a guy who can actually help, and then I would, of course. So, for example, if you could help, and I know that, then I will come to you. Just because doesn't mean that,
Mhm.
sorry, charity, I can't help you yet because I
Right.
haven't
Right.
found a female.
Right. Right. Understood. Understood. And I'm just teasing, but you have to follow. And here's something that all entrepreneurs need to understand. You have to
Mm,
follow where the very heartbeat of your passion is in that time frame. Is there going to be room for expansion? Absolutely. Is there going to be room for growth? Absolutely. Is there room for things to change and for your journey to take a different direction? Yeah, absolutely. But in the moment, where the thing that makes your heart sing is women and children. And so that's fine, you know. Now, that being said, Jeanette, I'm just going to say this in front of everybody. I'll definitely be willing when you are ready to and you see a avenue of alignment. Absolutely. Let's have a conversation about that because I think that's phenomenal. And I think that more people need to be interested in service in a way that allows uh, that allows people to kind of come boldly without thinking that they have to garner all of these resources and they have to everything has to look a certain way and all our ducks have to be in a row. I love that you are providing that for individuals, and that is awesome. And it's a fantastic segue into something else I want to talk to you about, right?
mhm.
I want to
Yeah.
talk to you about your involvement with the Big Fix because you did a Big Fix. For those of you who have no idea what I am talking about, I'm talking about the signature dish of Love Entrepreneurs. You heard Janette talking about a community that she has curated and is curating, and the importance of community. You heard the passion in her voice. We talked about communities where you can come in and be welcomed and be honored and be uplifted and be given advice and suggestions. And Love Entrepreneurs is one of those places. Is a place where a group of individuals, a group of business owners, a group of entrepreneurs are just gung ho about helping other people, helping ordinary people build extraordinary businesses. Their passion, their purpose, their path is dripped in that. And what they do is the big fix. And we're going to talk about what the big fix is in just a moment. We're going to talk about Janette's experience with the big fix. Before we do that, though, we're going to hear from my buddy Jake talking about the big fix, and then we'll be right back with Janette.
Hi everyone, I'm Jake. Today was my big fix as well as yesterday. Thank you everyone for coming and supporting Love Entrepreneurs as usual. It's always a fantastic experience. And despite my own experiences of running multiple businesses, I always come away from here completely refreshed with new ideas I haven't sort of thought of or have thought of but haven't expanded. It's an absolute pleasure to come along to Love Entrepreneurs as always. And I look forward to seeing other big fixes that I can contribute to.
That was my buddy Jake talking about the big fix. What is the big fix? Let me share with you very briefly what that is, and Janette will talk about your experience. The big fix, think mastermind hot seat, right? Everybody, or most people, at least in the business world, are probably familiar with that, the mastermind concept, and you sitting in the hot seat. The big fix is an opportunity for you as a business owner. Doesn't matter whether you just picked your business name or you've been in business for 20 years. It's an opportunity for you to sit amongst a group of professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners from all industries, share your business ideas, share your vision for your business, share any pain points that you may have in your business, ask any questions that may still be unanswered for your business. And then what the group does, the sole goal of the group is to pour into you ideas and suggestions and systems and potential collaborations and all types of things that would help you move the needle in your business. They go into breakout sessions and they come back and they just pour it on you. And then what happens is you get a report of everything that was talked about during that session. You also get a video of that session, and you have two options. You can either take all of that and go forth and be great, or you can work with individuals within the group who can now provide the services that you need for your business. Say, for example, so I'll give you a real world example. I do some video editing for some folk who have come through the big fix, right? Because that was part of, they needed a new video presence or they needed to go live more, whatever the case may be, right? Here's the kicker, folks. It's free. It's free. And I wish I had applause and, all kinds of like fireworks and all that kind of stuff to say, but it's free. It's free. It's an opportunity for you to come meet some fantastic people who really just want to see you win. That's it. Now, Janette had the privilege, I'm going to use that word, of drinking from this fire hose called the Big Fix, right? Talk about your experience with that.
Yeah, so my experience, my goodness, I came away with pages and pages and pages of notes. Essentially, it is exactly like how you described it, which was, it was just a big group of people who got on the call because they want to see you win, because they want to help you get they want to get a better understanding of what your business does and actually help you succeed. That's essentially like I can't make it more simple than this, but it sounds like this is really simple, this is too simple, but that's exactly it. There is nothing, like, I don't want to put any frills on it, because it literally, everyone was super supportive. Everyone was super passionate about helping my CIC. So I came to the Big Fix with a problem, which was, how can I generate income for the CIC to keep things running? That was it. Because actually, I've been hosting events in person in central London, but every time I was making a loss of £200. And that costs a lot, and I've been funding that through my business. it's not sustainable for me. So in order for me to continue building this community and giving this safe space for women in central London to meet, I needed to find a way of actually generating more income, whether it be like, is it marketing, or is it just, I go scream and shout about it, or do I do less, like even consider doing that to kind of like save on the loss.
Mm-hmm.
But actually the ideas that came, some were like, oh my goodness, how did I not see that? Someone suggested, well, why don't you do things online? I'm like, oh yeah. Didn't even cross my mind. As well as, if you want to take this global, do it online. I was like, oh yeah, of course. So it's enabled me to go thinking, now in January I can take this online.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be an online community. There were some really creative ideas as well,
Mm-hmm.
which I was like, okay, this is quite overwhelming. There's quite a lot of work to do there. But one, I know that if I really struggle, there's going to be people there supporting me, because that's where the ideas came from.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that I had a safety net.
Yeah.
And then two, it was like, it doesn't have to be immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, involving men.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be immediate. I mean, there were many gentlemen on the calls who were really like, how can we help? How can we help? I'm like, sorry, wait, please hang on.
Right.
But I was able to then go away, digest the information, and then make the decision. I want you guys to, I want to get the guys involved, but right now I want to smooth out what I've got now, and then build. And so it's kind of like without the pressure as well. Like you said, there's some people who are like very salesy, who are like, do it now, now, now. I didn't feel any of that at all. It was just, how can I support you? And if anything, it came from a genuine desire, burning desire to, how can I help you now?
Yeah. That's good. And listen, let's be clear about something. Those of you who are watching now or watching the replay, I did not pay Janet to say any of that. Janette, I did not pay Janette to say any of that. Right? That is the real experience. That is the real experience, and it is the only experience. I love that you said that. I don't want to put any frills on it. That it is. This is what it is. Right? You come, you share, you come away with a whole lot. And some of it you can use right now, like you said. Some of it you can use down the road. Some of it, let's be clear, some of it you maybe can't use, right? But the
Yeah.
whole goal is to that expansion of perspective, that those moments like what you had where you're like, wait a minute, I should be doing that. You're right. Wow, I was never thinking, and all of that. And that's the beauty of this experience. Listen, if you want to, you know what? Even if you're not ready for the hot seat yet, and I know I had on the screen schedule your big fix today, but even if you're not ready to schedule your big fix today and you just want to come and just be a part of the experience, reach out to me. I'll make sure that you are there to be a part of the experience. Listen, Crazy David said Janette needs to tell me what that is. FD. Tell me what that means. If you want to be a part of it, reach out to me. I would love to have you as my guest, even if you're not the person sitting in the hot seat, just so that you can come, be a part of the experience, and share some ideas. Like, you may have some ideas as well. Oh, there you go. Janette needs to do a big fix promo video. That's a good idea, Crazy David. And I think Janette and I may have to have a conversation off air about that. Appreciate that suggestion. Thank you so much. So listen, that's what the big fix is. Everybody needs community. Number one, everyone can benefit from more ideas. Number two, everyone, I dare say, desires to find ways to move the needle in their business. Number three, you can get all of those in the Love Entrepreneurs community and with doing a big fix. So make sure you schedule your big fix or reach out to me on any platform that you are watching this on right now. Shoot me a message and just say, hey, listen, man, I'd love to sit in on one of those, and I'll make sure that you are there. Reem is in the comments saying, someone said you cannot read the label of the jar you are in. Wow. I love that. That's what the big fix is. Wow. Uh, Reem, we might have to figure out how uh that sounds like a t-shirt or something. We got to figure something out, Reem, how we can get how we can get that popping. That is awesome. That is awesome. Listen, Janette, it's been a pleasure, and I don't want to keep you too much longer, but there's one more thing I'd like to ask of you before we find out how we can get in contact with you. And that is, I want to get some advice. All of the guests that come on, I always ask them to give some kind of advice to two different groups of individuals. The
Okay.
first group being those who are on the fence about that entrepreneurial journey. They're going through what you kind of went through. Maybe they're going through a healing journey. They think that there's a purpose coming out of that, but they're just not sure if they want to jump the fence. So that's the first group of people. The second group of people are folk like us who we're already on this journey. We've kind of experienced some of the bumps and bruises, and we're just looking for just that extra oomph to just keep us going. Can you give some advice to uh, those two groups of people for me?
Yes, absolutely. So, to the first group who are a little on the fence right now, I would say just believe and trust in yourself. No matter what you think is the right thing to do, no matter what you're thinking is that you want to do, is the thing to do. There is no right or wrong answer.
Mm,
There's just an answer and action. That's it. And if you go down the route and you find, oh, actually, I don't like this, you can always change it. Because one thing that we get stuck on is the idea. When we get started, before we start, it's got to be like this blueprint. It's
mhm,
got to be like this incredible thing that like it's all pretty and in the box and everything. It doesn't work like that. Our journeys are designed to evolve. We as
mm,
humans are designed to evolve. If you don't change and if you don't evolve, then it means you're not growing. It means you're going to be bored, you're going to be stuck. That's it. So, because you're flatlined, life is like this.
mhm.
And so, if you got whatever you're thinking, just trust and believe in yourself. That's my advice for the first group.
Okay.
And then the advice for the second group is you don't have to do this alone. We
Mm,
talked a lot about community, and that is so important as an entrepreneur. You don't have to do this alone. A lot of people think entrepreneur, it's about getting creative. How can I create something new today in this moment? But your creativity doesn't need to generate only from yourself. You can get creative with someone's idea to kickstart your creativity, and then you make it your own.
mm,
So there's so many different ways to do this. But if you're a little bit stuck, if you're feeling like I don't know what to do, then go ask someone, speak to someone, go on the big fix, speak to people in Love Entrepreneurs, because this is where it actually can help you. Because like Reem said, you can't read the label in the jar that you're in, but also you can't know what you don't know. So allow other people, give the gift to other people of receiving what they would love to share with you. Then you can choose. You've got wider choice, and it's more fun in that way.
mhm. Listen, those are some mic drop moments right there, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get any better than what you just received. If you didn't take notes during that period of time, you're going to have to go back and rewind this and watch the replay so that you can get that phenomenal advice. That was great advice. Thank you for that. Crazy David's in the comments said, I was a part of her big fix, and it was a pleasure to see that she listened, appreciated, and took our comments on board. I was also a part of that Big Fix as well, and it was indeed a great experience. Listen, uh, Janette, so awesome to have you as my guest today. Thank you so much for taking some time out to be with us, to share your journey, to just drop some phenomenal wisdom on us as well. Now, how can folk get in touch with you? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
I would say the easiest and the quickest way is to just get in touch via LinkedIn. I believe, Oliver, you've put the link
It
there
is.
as well. And yeah,
Yep.
we've got the link to my LinkedIn page. So just come and just drop me a comment. Look at any of things that I've posted. If you're interested in any of it, drop me a comment. Message me. I'm a fairly friendly person, always willing to have a chat.
Indeed. And like Janette said, the link to her LinkedIn is in the description of where whatever platform you are watching this on right now. If you go to the description, you will see a link for Janette's LinkedIn. Reem says, Janette is awesome. Indeed. I
Thank you,
think
Reem. You're awesome too.
I think we will, excuse me, I think we'll all agree with that. Janette is awesome. So, listen, I want you to stick around just for a moment. I'm going to put you backstage, so to speak, finish out the show, and then I'd like to just personally speak with you after that. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you very
This
much
was great.
for having me.
Indeed.
Thank you, everyone, for listening today.
Absolutely. Thank you to all the folks in the comments as well. And we will talk in just a moment. All right. So, was I right or was I right? Obviously, you have no option there but to say I was right because I didn't give you an option. This was a phenomenal show. Janette is an awesome individual. You got something from this. I'm not even asking that question. I know you did because I was here too and I got something from this. And so, listen, we talked about community. You heard what Janette said. You need community. You can't do it by yourself. And what better place to find community than with Love Entrepreneurs, who again is a group of individuals who just want to see you win. And they use the Big Fix to do that. So if you want to be a part of that experience, you know what to do. Send me a message. If you want to hang out with the Love Entrepreneurs group and just see who the people are, shoot me a message and we can make that happen as well. So happy to have Janette Wong with us today, life coach, philanthropist, and podcaster. Make sure you check out what she is doing. Make sure you connect with her on LinkedIn. Shoot her a message. Say, hey, listen, I saw you on The Life of an Entrepreneur. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. All right. That's another episode of The Life of an Entrepreneur. Another great one in the books. Next week, we have another great guest. So make sure that you tune in. If this is your first time seeing this, you got to go back because there are some great guests that you missed and some great ideas, suggestions, and advice to help you move the needle in your business, to help you on this journey. Because the life of an entrepreneur is a journey, and we want you to enjoy that journey. So, with that being said, happy Tuesday to you. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you next time.